Hi guys, welcome back to the continuation of our moles and chemical calculations recordings. Right now, I am recording this. I guess this is my fifth or sixth lecture related to moles and chemical calculations. In the previous lecture, we have calculated how to calculate the empirical formula from the given values of percentages or masses. Right now, I am spotlighting on the heading as well, and that is the calculation of molecular formula from given empirical formula and from given molecular mass as well. I can say you very clearly that whenever examiner is asking you to calculate empirical formula, he can ask the second question to calculate the molecular formula as well. Remember this thing that empirical formula can be calculated either from the given percentages or from the given masses by calculating the moles value. The formula, which is called molecular formula, can be calculated from the empirical formula, and empirical formula mass can be compared with the molecular formula mass. It is a key that molecular formula mass and empirical formula mass ratios are calculated. Their ratio is equal to their formula ratio as well. Here, number one example is CF2 and the MR value is 100. Now, what is CF2? CF2 is the already calculated empirical formula. Okay. Now, the next point I have written over there as well, which I am spotlighting right now, ratio of empirical formula mass is equal to ratio of their formula as well. Ratio of empirical formula mass and molecular formula mass is equal to their formula ratio as well. That point I'm going to complete it over here. I am just, let me erase it and then I will rewrite this so that everyone can be on the same page. Ratio of empirical formula mass and molecular formula mass formula mass formula mass is equal to their ratio for formula. So it means that their mass ratio and their formula ratio is same. Here we have the empirical formula CF2. We can calculate the empirical formula mass. Carbon is 12, whereas fluorine is 19. So 12 plus 19 plus 19 is equal to 50. What is the molecular formula mass? That is the MR value, that is 100. What is the ratio between 50 and 100? It is 1 is to 2. It means that as molecular formula mass or molecular mass is double than that of empirical formula mass, it means that molecular formula will be double than that of empirical formula as well. So we are going to multiply CF2 by 2 to calculate the molecular formula, which will become C2F4. So this is how we are calculating the molecular formula from the given empirical formula, and from the given empirical formula mass, we are calculating the molecular formula. There I am going to solve some few more questions as well. It is C2H4O. What is C2H4O? It is a empirical formula. What is the MR value? It is 88. We can say this thing that C2H4O is the empirical formula. We have calculated its empirical formula mass. How it is 44? 12 carbon, like a 12 for one carbon, 12 for the other carbon. Hydrogens are 1 into 4 and 16 for oxygen. When we have total this whole thing, it is 44. Okay. Now, what is the ratio of 44 and 88? 88 is the mass given and 44 is the empirical formula mass calculated. Now, what is the ratio of their masses? 1 is to 2. In the same way, their formula ratio will be 1 is to 2 as well. So we are going to multiply empirical formula by 2 to calculate the molecular formula. So this is the way to calculate the molecular formula from empirical formula. There is another question related to that as well that I will solve in the past papers practice. Here, right now, I am going to solve for calculations related to limiting reactants, excessive reactants, and determination of percentage yield. In that type of the questions, guys, before moving towards the question, I would like to explain you one thing Just consider an example of a reaction. If the two reactants are reacting A and B, for example, both of them are demanding like 1:1 ratio. If one of the reactant will be finished, obviously reaction will be finished. As a result, we can say this thing that reaction, for example, if A reactant is finished, we can say this thing that product A and B is now not forming as reactant A is finished. So we can say this thing that reactant A is considered as limiting reactant. That's why we can say this thing that product is based upon the limiting reactant A. When A reactant is finished, as a result, product formation is stopped. So product formation is always based upon the limiting reactant. You people need to write down the balanced chemical equation always. In most of the questions, examiner has given the tough type of balanced chemical equation, but sometimes examiner is expecting that balanced chemical equation from you. So remember this thing that if you know the balanced chemical equation, then you people will be able to calculate what is the limiting reactant and how much amount is required, and what is the excessive reactant and what is the amount which is in excess, etc., etc. I am going to solve few questions related to these types as well. And what about the percentage yield? Percentage yield is actually the amount of the product calculated based upon the limiting reactant, and when it is being compared with the actual amount which examiner has told you in a question, when these two amounts are compared with each other, then that is called as a percentage yield. Percentage yield calculation has a specific type of a formula that I will write in the videos as well. And what is that? Percentage yield is equal to obtained divided by actual, that is obtained divided by like obtained and the actual is the same thing. So obtained divided by theoretical multiplied by 100. So remember this thing that the one which is written in the question is always the obtained, that is the actual one, that is the experimental one, and the one which we are calculating is the theoretical, that is the expected one. So it is the actual divided by expected into 100. I will write down the formula as well. As a result, you people will be able to understand that more properly. Right now, I am solving one of the question of a past paper. In this way, you people will be more clarify about this. This is our question. You people can check this thing. If you people will write down this question on Google, it will explain everything, where from where this question is taken, which is the variant, and etc., etc. Then you people can check everything from mark schemes as well. If you people will just write on the first statement, even you can scan the first statement by writing it on Google. Further, you people may pursue with scanning, and things will become there from the paper Cambridge and other websites which are telling about different type of the questions, and different type of the past papers are available over there. Okay, so this is the question. Let me explain you this question. This question is saying that dilute nitric acid is reacting with calcium hydroxide, formula CaOH twice, as shown. Look at here right now. Examiner himself has given you this equation. Okay, lucky V. Okay, then 20 centimeter cube of 0.01 moles per decimeter cube of calcium hydroxide reacts with 20 centimeter cube of nitric acid. Guys, can you look at there right now? 20 centimeter cube, centimeter cube. So this is volume. Moles per decimeter cube. Okay, so this is concentration. So what is concentration? It is amount of a substance dissolved per liter of water is called concentration. So whenever any number is with the unit of moles per decimeter cube, it is always concentration. And whenever any number is with centimeter cube only, then it is called volume. Guys, there is a formula which I am going to introduce you, and that is concentration is equal to moles upon volume. Here I am writing this formula right now, and that is concentration is equal to moles upon volume. We can rearrange this formula as well. There are three things in this formula. We can calculate moles is equal to concentration. Moles is equal to concentration into volume. We can calculate the volume as well. We can say this thing, volume is equal to moles upon concentration. So we can just rearrange the formula, and by rearranging the formula, one can find out the like a variable thing. We can calculate it from one way or the other way. Okay. So this is one of the key point that you should know, that these are the formulas which should be in your mind to calculate the moles and the calculations, and specifically related to the liquids. Okay. So here I'm going to zoom it a little bit again. Okay. Examiner is saying 20 centimeter cube of 0.015 moles per decimeter cube of calcium hydroxide reacts with 25 centimeter cube of HNO3. What is HNO3? Nitric acid. What is What is CaOH twice? That is called as calcium hydroxide. It means that it is a simple neutralization reaction, and it is going to give you salt and water. Then examiner is asking calculate concentration of HNO3 in grams per decimeter cube. So remember this thing, I am back on this page. Concentration can have two types of units. Concentration can be either in moles per decimeter cube, or concentration can be in the grams per decimeter cube. So if you have calculated moles per decimeter cube concentration, you can convert it into grams per decimeter cube concentration simply by multiplying it with the MR value. Okay, now I am back on this page. Okay, so in this case, examiner has given you 5 mark question with like step by step questions are there. Examiner can ask this 5 mark question directly without steps, so a student should know this thing. What are the steps required for this? Okay, so calculate the number of moles of calcium hydroxide. Guys, has examiner given us concentration of calcium hydroxide? Yes, examiner has given us concentration, that is 0.015. And has examiner given us volume of calcium hydroxide? Yes, that is 20. But there is a problem. He has given us volume in centimeter cube, but he has given us concentration in moles per decimeter cube. So one is in centimeter cube, whereas the other party is in decimeter cube. To convert centimeter cube into decimeter cube, one has to divide the centimeter cube volume by 1000 to convert centimeter cube into decimeter cube. So you can check this thing right now, that concentration is equal to moles upon volume. One is rearranging this, so moles is equal to concentration into volume. Concentration is 0.0150 given in the question. Volume is 20 given in the question, divided by 1000, and the answer is 0.0003. Okay, so 0.015 times 20 divided by 1000, the answer is 0.0003. Okay, so now in the next question, determine the number of moles of nitric acid which reacts with calcium hydroxide. Okay, have we calculated the moles of calcium hydroxide in the first part? Yes, we have calculated. Okay, in the balanced chemical equation, can you look at there right now that 2 is written before HNO3, whereas 1 is written before CaOH twice, which is just telling you that moles of nitric acid are double than that of calcium hydroxide. So can we multiply moles of calcium hydroxide by 2 to convert it into moles of nitric acid? So it will become 0.0003 times 2, which is giving you 0.0006. As a result, one can calculate the moles of one from the moles of the other. Okay, so we have calculated the moles of nitric acid from the moles of calcium hydroxide, simple by a ratio method, simple by a chemical equation. In the next step, calculate the concentration of HNO3 in moles per decimeter cube. Okay, so have they given us any information related to HNO3? Yes, they have given us an information that I am just spotlighting, highlighting with the blue color. HNO3 volume is 25 centimeter cube, and guys, you have calculated the moles of HNO3 already in step number 2, and that is 0.0006. So we are just implementing the same formula. Moles is concentration is equal to moles upon volume. So moles will become 0.0006 and volume is 25. We are going to divide this 25 by 1000. Why? Because this 25 is in centimeter cube and we have to shift it into decimeter cube. That's why we are dividing this 25 by 1000. And as a result, the answer for this is 0.024 moles per decimeter cube. Whatsoever is the answer, you are going to calculate it and you are going to write it as it is. And then in the next step, which is the final step of this question, examiner is giving 2 marks for this question, because examiner is thinking that students should know about the formula moles, that is, moles is equal to concentration into volume, or the concentration is equal to moles upon volume, then student should know this thing that if once he has calculated the concentration in moles per decimeter cube, can multiply this concentration with MR value to calculate the gram per decimeter cube concentration. Okay. So now this is the concentration in gram per decimeter cube, which is moles per decimeter cube concentration times MR. So it is 0.024, which is the MR of HNO3. It is 63. How it is 63? Hydrogen is 1, nitrogen is 14, oxygen 16 times 3, which is 48. So when we are going to add this whole thingy, it is becoming 63. When we are adding this whole thing and multiplying, the answer is 1.512 grams per decimeter cube. Guys, there can be a human error, so all of you are advised to check my calculations as well. I am just telling you and explaining you the method, the way to calculate the answer to reach the destination. But I am telling you, you people can simply write down few words of the question on Google, can just take the screenshot of it, can scan it, and you will find the question in a moment. So please don't worry, the questions are available. All of these are now past paper questions, can be found on the websites very easily. Right now I am on a next concept. Here I am just introducing one of the formula, and that is related to the water of crystallization. Guys, if you can recall this thing, in video number 1 I have told it to you that some of the compounds during their formation are associating some of the water molecules as a part of their structure, and those water molecules are called as water of crystallization. So remember this thing, that these are the molecules which are just adjusting with the compound. When we are heating that compound, as a result, water molecules are removed and the crystal is now turning itself into powder. And now powder, it does not have any water in it, and crystal means it is having water in it. Sometimes examiner is asking a question that how you will know this thing, that all water is lost. Although this question is not directly related to the Mohs chapter, but it is related to some of the scientific logic behind that. When all the water is removed, it means that mass will be remain constant. No more change is happening to the mass of a substance, to the mass of the compound. Okay, so there are certain type of the compounds which when have water, they are giving a different color, and when they are losing all water, they are giving a different color. I have told you these two colors associated when I have taught you the chapter of acid, bases and salts, and I have told you these two colors when I was telling you about the identification of gases in the earlier videos. Over there I have told you identification of water as well. You people can write down the identification of water on YouTube, and that will give you that video as well. Okay, now I'm telling you that there are two types of the test for identification of water. One of them is with copper sulfate, that I am writing right now over here. It is copper sulfate, and when copper sulfate is with 5 water molecules, look, these crystallization water of molecules as crystallization are represented by that dot. So when those water molecules are part of that compound, we can say this thing, that color of copper sulfate will become blue in that case. And when it is losing all water molecules, it is anhydrous copper sulfate, and that is called white in color. Okay, that is white in color. So guys, I was just telling you the terms having compound and losing all water. Guys, don't intermingle these terms with the biological terms. Remember this thing, that hydrous and anhydrous are the terms in chemistry. Dehydrated and hydrated are not the terms for chemistry. So please be careful about this. So when copper sulfate is losing all those 5 water molecules, it is becoming anhydrous and it is becoming white in color. Same type of the test can be carried out with cobalt chloride as well. Cobalt chloride, when it has water of crystallization, it is giving pink or red color. And when cobalt chloride is losing all that water, it is turning itself into blue. So all these tests are already informed to you. But right now, my focus is on calculation of water of molecules as water of crystallization. So it is just a simple formula. It is just like a number of water molecules as water of crystallization is equal to moles of water divided by moles of compound. So in the question, you are going to calculate moles of water, and then you are going to calculate moles of compound. Might be examiner is giving you such type of questions step by step. Might be examiner is asking you to calculate it directly. So this is the formula and this is a basic concept. Right now, I am on the next question. and you are going to calculate this, you are going to implement this formula. I am going to read this question. Water of crystallization is explained at the top as well, that I have told you in the previous slide. Okay, I'm going to zoom it a little bit. You can check this thing. Some chlorides are hydrated. All chlorides are hydrated? No, some chlorides are hydrated. Okay, example was cobalt chloride. Example is here barium chloride, which examiner is mentioning over here. Okay. So I am just spotlighting the question. Some chlorides are hydrated. When hydrated, barium chloride crystals BaCl2.XH2O are heated. Water they give off water. It means that water is moving out of that compound. BaCl2.XH2O, it is solid in the state. BaCl2 solid remains there, whereas X water molecules are evaporated in the form of a gas because it is heated. As a result, water is turning itself into steam and going out of the compound. We can see this thing that a student carries out experiments to determine the value of X in a BaCl2.XH2O. We can say this thing as well, that hydrated barium chloride crystals are weighed. The hydrated barium chloride crystals are then heated. The remaining solid is reweighed. You may say weighed means it is reweighed after loss of water molecules. Okay. Describe how student can show that all water is given off. Guys, I'm going to zoom it a little bit so that all of you can look into the marks. These are 2 marks associated with this question and 3 lines are there. Guys, can you look at my working? I am just filling up this whole space up to the possible level. Remember this thing, that when examiner is going to scan your paper, when cameras is going to scan your paper, these all lines, these all spaces will be their part of scanning thingy. But remember this thing, don't write at the bottom of the last line, because this can become out of the scanning process as well. So you may say this thing, he may recheck the mass of the compound. When it will become constant, it is assuring that all water is removed. Next is this, that he may check with copper sulfate. If it remains white in color, it means that no water is present in that compound as well. Okay. Then in an experiment 4.88, so this was just the assurance to check that all water is removed, yes or no. Okay. So if mass is continuously decreasing, it means that still some water molecules are present there, which are still in the process of evaporation. That's why mass is getting under a process of change. Okay. Right now, I'm pursuing this question further. In an experiment, 4.88 grams of BaCl2.XH2O is heated until all the water is given off. Full stop. The mass of BaCl2 remaining is 4.16. Okay, so what was the initial mass? 4.88. What is the final mass? 4.16. Okay. Calculate the number of moles of BaCl2 remaining. Examiner is telling you the word of remaining very clearly. So be careful about these all calculations. I have observed this thing, that some super champions are making some silly mistakes. So please be careful about this thing, that examiner is mentioning this thing, that remaining. You have to calculate the moles of the remaining. So what is the remaining? 4.16. We are going to divide it by 208. So what was the formula? I have told you in the initial videos. Moles is equal to mass over mr/ar. So moles is equal to mass. What is the mass? That is 4.16 divided by what is the mr value? That is 208. BaCl2 is 208. 4.16 divided by 208. So the answer is 0.06. So these are the moles of BaCl2 we have calculated from the remaining ones. Okay. Calculate the mass of water given off. Okay, so what is the mass of water? We are just going to find out the difference in the mass. Original minus final. Original minus remaining is giving you the mass of water. So it is 4.88 minus 4.16 is giving you 0.72. 0.72 is the mass of water which we have calculated. Then examiner is asking in the next question that what is the moles of water? Moles of water is equal to mass of water divided by mr of water. So it is 0.72 divided by 18. So it is giving you 0.04. That is the moles of water. Guys, have you seen this thing? Sometimes some of the students are asking from me that why we are calculating the moles of compound if we are going to calculate the molecules of water. Then I am telling them that when we are implementing implementing that formula. It is the moles of compound divided by the moles of water divided by moles of compound. That's why we have to calculate the moles of compound and moles of water both. So here we have calculated the moles of compound, which are 0.02, and moles of water, which are 0.04. When we are going to put these both mole values in the formula, the answer is becoming 2. Sometimes examiner is asking, write down the formula. Here I am writing the formula as well. It will become BaCl2 dot 2H2O. Dot 2H2O is explaining that these two water molecules are attached with the compound during its formation. Okay. So this is the question related to water of molecules as water of crystallization. You people can check this thing that further I have many questions related to moles, and that I'm going to explain in the next video. All the best to all of you.